So one aspect of buying a home that often gets overlooked is the financing condition. And I've had to explain this to a number of clients, especially to first-time home buyers, but even to ones who have bought a home in the past. So what is a financing condition, and should you include a financing condition when you are making a purchase? Well, first of all, the financing condition is put in place in order to guarantee that you can get funding on the property. One of the problems is even if you're pre-qualified or pre-approved, this doesn't guarantee that you're going to get funding for a number of reasons. One of the reasons being that the property that you are looking to purchase may not be eligible to be funded by the lender, or an insurer, if you put less than 20% down, isn't willing to insure that property, and then therefore the lenders won't lend on that property. I did have this scenario actually last week where a client was putting in an offer in on a property with post-tension cable issues, and because of that the insurers weren't going to insure the property, and so because of that the lender wouldn't have lent to them in that situation. So that's a perfect opportunity to have that financing condition to make sure that your financing stays in place, that you can get financing. Now, with that financing condition, it allows you as well to make sure that all of your documents that you provide to the lender can be reviewed and accepted by the lender before you waive that financing condition to ensure that you get funding. So for instance, a job letter or something else may come up where the lender will need more clarification, or they simply won't accept it. Or for instance, we've got a lot of people working remote right now. Every time a lender is verifying income, they do call the employer and verify verbally that you work there. And so a lot of times too, we've got people working in remote roles right now where they will call and make sure that you are able to work remotely. And if they say, well, we're calling them back to the office in 2 months, so no, they're not allowed to work remotely, they won't fund on the mortgage if, of course, your employer says that you aren't allowed to work remotely. So keep that in mind. I know a lot of times in some markets, especially Vancouver, Toronto, the financing condition was something that was waived right off the bat in order to get a firm sale. That was, you almost had to do it on every sale. But in markets like where I am in Calgary, this is something that is expected. Financing conditions are the norm here, which is good because you don't want to put any money at risk. And if you waive your financing condition and you don't have your financing all lined up, you do stand to lose not only the deposit money that you've put down already, but as well you put yourself in place to be sued if there's other things that go wrong, or if the property values change dramatically. You read about it in the news. So keep that in mind. The financing condition is a very important part of buying a home.